rtfc.baconicecream.com. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Evercast, your weekly dose of Evercade goodness. I'm one of your hosts, Rich Haywood, here from Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC. And this way is Ed, Retro KillDashNine. What's going on?
What's up, everyone?
And we got Crow. What's going on?
Yeah, I've got to do that. Yeah, I'm in a house. I'm not outside.
So how's everybody going? How's everyone doing today? We're just gonna stop in. I know people have been waiting. We got some people in the house already here. We got Dan Nastic, we got Snake Eater, we got Jason Shires, DJC Game Studios. What's going on?
Yeah.
Retro Gaming Revival. What's up? Dave Lister, first time you caught this live. Oh, welcome on in. And Ian Hobbies. What's going on? You know what that means?
Well, no. He didn't summon me yet.
Oh, he didn't summon you yet.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Okay, now I can do it.
Would you kill this thing?
There we go.
I don't know, and maybe it's like the linger that's after it. You're waiting, you think it should end, and it just holds on it.
That's the idea.
It makes it. It makes it. It's the way it is. So, so how's everybody doing this week? This week for me was like an absolute kind of a logistical train wreck. There's all sorts of things that happened in the week that was for me that I had to like hurdle over and jump over and all that kind of stuff. I am absolutely floored that the fact that I actually got things out on the channel because it was just absolutely nuts. So I hope everybody else this week was good. How about you, Crow? How was your week?
Well, I finally started getting Evercade videos out using the new format. Well, actually, one of them's out. The other one's scheduled for tomorrow. But then I have to take another pause from it to do some other stuff for stuff that's coming out, including a game that I originally said they offered me the code, and I was like, no, I don't think I have time for it. And then they emailed me back. They're like, hey, we really think you should look at it. I was like, okay, fine, I will. So. Nice.
Well, that's cool. I gotta check out the new format vid. I knew you've been working on it for a while.
Well,
so.
it's pretty much the same thing that I when I talked about the games in the in my regular Evercade videos. It's just separated and they're a little bit more expanded, which is something I kept having to edit stuff out of the script to make it a little bit tighter. Otherwise, those videos would be like 2 hours long. So I was like, you know what? If I separated them out, those videos would be a lot shorter. Like they'd be under 8 minutes, 10 minutes. And I'd be putting them out more frequently and consistently instead of like a whole month or 2 months going by without an Evercade video. Because I could just make those videos as I go along the cartridge, which is what I was doing anyway. I was just holding everything back to put in one video.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. So what about you, Ed? What's going on? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
I can't hear you. Press the button.
Oh, so this is what was going on last week.
You got your boy Phoenix.
So let me elaborate on that. So for all of you who don't know, one of our friends of the YouTubeverse, PandaSub2000, you got to check him out. Very crazy channel full of awesome, weird, good stuff. He does a lot of like After Effects. That description isn't just. Anyways, he has this live panel show. And we just had so much fun. And DJC, who's in the house, he was on it. Nick from Geeks the Cash was on it, and then Mr.
Matthews.
Yes. And so we just had lots of fun, asked a lot of questions, and they got me to join into the potty humor. I tried to resist. So
yeah. No, it's a fun show. It does a show. It's called Panda Sub Live. It's a variety show that actually covers all sorts of different topics in the retro space, mostly it's the retro space, but sometimes he like dives into movies and pop culture and like that kind of thing too.
Oh yeah,
it is a really cool thing, and yeah, I mean that. Hats off to the technical efforts of that individual. He's really doing a whole bunch of awesome stuff there, and it's definitely worth it to check out. It appears that I'm being invaded by
So you a space invader.
But yes. So speaking of things now, going to the chat while I figure out what's going on. There was a segment on that show where Panda calls it red pill, blue pill. And DJC just happened to be in the chat saying, red pill, which one would you take? If you took one, right, the other one would cease to exist. It would just never exist. But I need to ask DJC for clarification because there are two of both.
Well,
which collection are you looking for? Mega Cats Collection 1 versus Jalico Collection 1? Or Jalico Arcade 1 or Mega Cats 2?
Not only that, here's what's also worse about that. Like, because the other rule that Phoenix had is, let's say that you picked Jalico, he said like you would just have a vague memory of the other thing, so you would kind of know that like some other cool collection existed. Like you might forget the name Mega Cats, but you wouldn't be able to quite remember it. So that was the funny thing. Like whatever pill that you don't take, all that other stuff, you kind of have like a vague kind of like memory, but it's frustrating because you feel like something is missing. So that's.
Yeah, I'm looking at my ranking list because I did re-rank all the collections, and it just depends on whether or not it's Collection 1, Collection 2, or Jalico Arcade or Jalico Collection 1.
That's a tough one because like Mega Cats 1 is one of the first.
Wait, why did I say Jalico? Why are we even talking about Jalico Arcade 1? That's not even out.
I know. And you didn't clarify, so yeah, that was just.
Nobody's played it yet.
It is true. Yes.
I'm looking at my list for Jalico Arcade 1. I was like, wait a minute, I never played that.
Oh, well, there we go. Mega Cats 1 Jalico.
Okay,
there we go. We got the clarification. So you guys do that. Hang out with the chat for a little bit. I'll be right back.
Well, on my list, it's clearly Mega Cats Collection 1. Because I put that on an S tier, and Jalico Collection 1 is on a B tier. So I guess I've got to go with Mega Cats 1. It's been scientifically validated.
Yeah, a lot of homebrew. I mean, I think I have to pick the homebrew over there. Even though, don't get me wrong, Jalico has some like really, really fun.
It does, but it's got some really bad ones too. It's got I didn't like Bases Loaded on that at all. I thought I was going to like that because I used to play Bases Loaded 2 a lot back in the NES days. Let's see here. What is on Jalico 1? There's Jalico Collection 1. Yeah, games I really didn't like on there were like Bases Loaded and Super Goal 2. Then you've got City Connection, the NES version, which it's not bad, but it's really choppy. It could have been better. That could have been a better version. But then we've got 7 games that are worth playing. Rival Turf, Brawl Brothers, Earth Defense Force, Astion X, Ignition Factor, Operation Logic Bomb. Believe it or not, Totally Rad wound up being my favorite game on that collection.
That's a really good game. Although Astion X, I couldn't get into the NES version because of the controls.
You know what Totally Rad, the Japanese name for that game is?
What?
It's called Magic John. I'm not kidding.
That's great. That I couldn't get in. I don't know. I couldn't get into because I felt like they gave you like way too many spells and stuff like too quick. And it was like,
yeah, what's funny is like I wasn't even like really paying attention to the spells or anything that much in the game until like halfway through the game. I was like, hey, I have all these spells, and then I blew through the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Doesn't stink.
I don't know. I couldn't get into that. I guess Mega Man clone, but I don't know. I just couldn't get into that as
Mega Cat Studio 1. Oh, it's got one of my favorite games on there, Tanzer. So of course that's why that's up there that high.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I like Mega Cats 1.
Yeah,
Tanzer. I like Tanzer so much I got a physical copy of it.
Dude, you know what? What about a week ago? I finished playing through that again, like on the big screen TV with the VS. That game is so good, and I like how you can take alternate paths. And I swear that I can't remember if I had an alternate version of the boss or not. I have to double check that because I feel like yeah, Tanzer is so good.
Yeah, I put Tanzer on a triple S tier.
Yeah,
And see, the controls for that are so tight. So it's interesting that you mentioned that because like recently been playing like Valis and even like Valis 3, like the control, like I'm not talking about like the fact that your character moves slower, but like the responsiveness in that is not anywhere near.
I haven't even made it that far in that collection, in the renovation collection yet. I've made it halfway through.
The thing with Tanzer is the controls are so tight, and once you get into it more, you realize like I think the first time I played through, I didn't use my aerial attacks enough, and you realize that double jump. Yeah, we could do a whole thing on Tanzer. I love.
Yeah. As for me, even though Tanzer isn't necessarily like it's a great game for me, but it isn't in. I don't think it breaks one of those tiers for me. I don't know. Maybe it just hasn't clicked with me.
You know what? You know what it reminds me of? Tanzer, to me, even back before it was on the renovation collection, it reminds me of El Viento, like just the art style and kind of how fast the gameplay is. Now Tanzer's a lot more difficult, but from when I first started playing it, I was like, that's what it reminded me of.
And the fact that you only get one life,
yeah, that's something. Like with El Viento, you could get like hit like 100,000 times and still be alive. But
right.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. As for me, when I do the pick between Jalico and Megacat, right now, right at this very moment, I might choose Megacat just out of the discovery piece. Because again, it's what I came to Evercade for. I came to Evercade to discover weird and quirky games that I didn't know before, and I already had a connection with Jalico to Bases Loader and Nastanex and City Connection and all that kind of stuff beyond the Evercade. So
it is like Strider. I love what you told Pop. Yeah,
go back on vacation. Yes. So for those of you that haven't been in the chat or missed it, Pete. 1 says hi and 2 says sorry, not there but on holiday. Yeah, he's there. He's hanging out. It's is it Victoria Day, right? That's the celebration. It's right before Memorial Day, which is next weekend for us, which is crazy to think. It's Memorial Day weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like one of the first actual company holidays from the year, and it's already like May, the end of May.
Like unbelievable how fast this year has been going. But yeah. So Pete will be back with us next week. He also says he took a non-arcade cart with himself. He took
the Worms collection, obviously.
Yes, because that's the one you take on vacation.
It's the one I would take on vacation.
On a handheld?
Yeah, absolutely on a handheld. In fact, that's the cartridge that stays in my handheld.
Really?
All right.
Yeah. Worms Armageddon. I mean, it's one of the best games.
That's true. But it's like, isn't it better multiplayer though? Like you just
I played Worms. I played those Worms games more single player than multiplayer, to be honest. There's a lot of single player missions and stuff in that game.
Yeah.
So
if you want to play a regular game, you could play against the multiple CPU teams as well. So it's just a fun, relaxing game.
So since you brought that up, random on the spot top on handheld, and taking vacation. What's your and the audience cancer? What's your go-to cart? And what I mean is there a cart that maybe, let's say, like you take a break from games, or there's a jump in and jump out? Like, what's your go-to cart currently that you find either that you keep playing and putting back in? Really? Okay, Pico.
Always and forever.
Really?
Always.
What's yours? What's yours? And will be.
I don't really have one because I'm constantly trying to catch up with the games I haven't played. So, and then if I do wind up catching up, I wind up going and I'm playing other stuff that I have not played yet.
Nice. Well, that's such the storyline for that is so good. And the third one, they get you caught up. All right, so y'all are going to be surprised. So my initial go-to cart for the longest time has been like Namco 1 for Pac-Man, Mappy, Dig Dug, and all that. But I've also had another go-to cart. Y'all might think I'm crazy for this, but believe it or not, it's Atari 1. And the reason for that is because, like, Food Fight, I love that game. I never played that growing up. Aqua Adventure, I did play on my flashback, but it wasn't as good. I love Aqua Adventure, is great, and the Ninja Golf. Like, those are those 3 games are like a quick jump in and jump out.
I love the premise of
that cart too. So
I've always loved the premise of Ninja Golf and how the game is supposed to be played. But to me, it's like the actual action sequences. They could be a lot better, to be honest. So that really drags the game down. Like when you're getting like you get like surrounded, and then there's no like invincibility frames, so you just like you can die and like you have full health to nothing in like 10 seconds.
That's true. Yeah, it is a little harsh, but
it's just really quirky.
Come on,
it's
Ninja
like land
Golf is
sharks.
cool.
And,
I want somebody to revisit that. Like someone should revisit Ninja Golf and then like improve on that.
Oh, there is a
hilarious.
remaster. Somebody did do that. It's like a Flash game.
No way.
So, I don't know where you could find it. I ran across it. I don't think I played it that much, to be honest, but I don't know if it's better or worse than the original one, but somebody did attempt a remake at it, but it's in Flash, I think.
Nice.
That's right. Missile Command. See, it's funny that I'm glad you brought that up, Jason, because sometimes I'll play Missile Command, Centipede. You know, like there are a few other games that while I have that in there, which maybe because I don't know if it's a 2600 is my first system, but it's funny that I find if I just want to jump in and jump out, I keep going back to that card. So like I have that in renovation in my VS right now.
Yeah. They really need to go back and update those cartridges so you can more easily know what games you're selecting and adjust the difficulty switches. Which I found out when we got the Evercade VS, you can adjust the difficulty switches with the shoulder buttons, but it's like you have to use R1 and R2. You know, R1 turns difficulty on, R2 turns it off, and it turns out that functionality was always in it. It's just that you can make the games more difficult, but you can't go back and make them easier because the handheld doesn't have those extra few shoulder buttons.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to say I thought they added that. Yeah, they need to do that. Although what's interesting is Aqua Adventure doesn't have any difficulty settings. I guess maybe because it was a prototype or whatnot. But
are you talking about like the switches, the A/B switch, or are you talking about the game selection?
Well, I just like the difficulty. Like I think like it doesn't do anything. I don't know.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, sometimes it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, and then it actually is, and you just don't realize it. There's games where it's a lot easier to tell than others. Yeah. Like the one that you could really tell that I discovered like right off the bat, the very first day I played it was Video Pinball, because you turn that difficulty on and you get the holes, and you can't turn them off unless you reset it. Because you can't with the handheld because you can't undo it.
You can't undo it. Yeah, I should play Adventure more because now you can do the difficulty where it's completely random, like the hardest one.
Oh yeah, that's just game mode 3, isn't it?
Yes, a game mode 3.
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, lots of great stuff in the chat too. And Crimson Cross's go-to is Atari 2, Retro Gamer Revival, Card 10, Technos, which is indeed awesome.
To be honest, sure. my go-to I guess is Worm, since it's always in my Evercade.
Yeah. Maybe you should have phrased it that way. It's kind of like the one that's always in your VS and or.
Although I don't know if it's actually in there now. Yeah, it's not in there now for right now because we were supposed to do an Evercast challenge a long time ago, and Namco Museum Collection one's been in there since.
Yeah, that's right. we got to bring that back. So like next week when Pete comes back, we should all form back and get into the challenges. I miss those. I really do.
Yeah, Dig Dug. Yeah.
Yeah, it's is it Dig Dug 2 or Dig Dug 1?
I think it's 1.
Yeah.
1? Oh, yeah. That's an awesome challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to do that. So like we'll hope to next week get in there.
Didn't we have technical difficulties? Like someone had to get like a cable for a while.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I did solve the issue. I do have it. Here it is. It is good. And I've tested it a bunch on not only the Evercade but at the I got the RG350 and it still works on that too. And these little adapters actually are solid. This little Benfei adapter I got on Amazon, it fits really snugly inside of the system, so it doesn't jiggle around. So I could be moving around and be fine.
Well, that's excellent.
I got one. Oh, this is it. This is the one I got. I got one purposely on a right angle, so it just hangs downward.
Yeah,
it works really well.
So yeah, I definitely got to check that out, and we definitely have to get back into those challenges.
And by the way, the poll is still open. It could still change.
Oh, that's true.
Somebody actually remembers to go back and vote.
He was like, "No, I don't want you guys to play Tic Tac anymore."
No, God, please, no, 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 no!
No, don't vote. It's locked. No, no.
Hey, I have the control of the poll.
That's
So
it.
Uh-oh.
That's it. So, but yeah. So for Dave Lester here, it's more about go-to games, which sometimes I'm in a mood for just a game, and we'll bring a cartridge specifically to play that. For him, it was Cannon Fodder, Xeno Crisis World Rally. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Atari 1 follows me around too, because sometimes I have to have my asteroid fixed. So, that's
that's what I mean.
That's how I play that. So
that's what I mean. I'll notice that. And the cool thing is, I have two Atari 1s when I got my my replacement white handheld. So like one of them, so like Atari 1 stays in one, Namco 1 is in the other.
I think I have 2 Atari ones too.
So it's kind of neat to have 2 of them just for that. So not be lazy and change cards, I guess. But
yeah.
I just kept the other one sealed. I never opened it.
What's going on, brother Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Ballistic Coffee Boy's here. My renovation and Gremlin collections finally arrived. Woohoo! Nice. Yeah, lots of people are starting to report all over the place that they're finally starting to get there. So good on those over, I guess, at VGP and elsewhere, getting people their carts, which is awesome. So, just got Shadow of the Beast for Lynx too. That's pretty cool. It's a good one. It's a very cool one.
It? I think I have that game.
I've tried that port.
It's not one of my go-to games.
Well, but like for those that I guess they're in the collecting space.
The thing that amazed everybody about Shadow of the Beast back when it was released was the graphics, and that was it. That was the game that they always had on demo because it was so good.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's impressive that like they could do some of those things with the technology that they had back then.
Because I want to say there's a TurboGrafx port and a Genesis port. I know.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of ports. I think I had the Genesis port at one point because it was so popular because everybody saw it, so it got ported to like a lot of different systems.
Yeah. Snake Eater says Namco 2 pretty much stays in his Evercade. Would love for it to work on the VS. Yeah, absolutely.
That's another good one.
Yeah. It's another.
That's another good one. So I want to segue into something real quick while we're in the intro and chat.
I want it now. What's the matter with those twats down there?
So I bring that up because I hear mainly in the Evercade fans hub, yes, the good new. I hear a lot of people kind of doing that, and just so one thing to clear the air, because I know people are saying like Blaze can barely keep stuff in stock, things are delayed, and it's not Blaze's fault. It's the current climate and the chip shortage. And I know probably no one from the Facebook group at Postal Watch. Let's put this in perspective. I had to wait forever for my renovation collection. Canceled my order through Video Games Plus. Reordered through Fun Stock. Then I got a collection that was DOA. Then I had to wait again. And I'm still perfectly fine with it. So, I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Had to get it off my chest. Just wish everyone else would be.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes, though, I can understand, like, the lulls sometimes are a real thing. If people are collectors first, right, rather than I guess just playing the game, sometimes having to wait to get your next set of cartridges, you can get a little antsy or something like that. So I guess I can understand that. And we only have had 2. We got Renovation and Gremlins, right where we'll still, again, some people are still waiting for them, and then we had Intellivision and Bitmap like right at the beginning of the year. So like so we got those, and then we're waiting for the replenishment, which is again delayed.
Oh,
so
man.
I can see it, but at the same time, it's like, we'll get there.
I'm actually really
all these other games.
Personally. I was glad when I got delayed a month. I was like, that gives me an extra month to
I got my
It's still a little relief here too, to be honest. Because I might be able to get through all of the collections, and then when the collections release, I might actually be able to do a Fun for 5 on the week of release. That came out. It'd be fun.
I feel like Blaze. See, here's the thing. I feel like Blaze could say, "We're gonna have the Castlevania collection. We're gonna have Zelda and Mario," and it would never be good enough. You know, because like for instance, so I understand like not everybody loves Atari and loves the television. So I get with that and television too, that might not be for everyone. I know we're all looking forward to that, but like Morph Cat, I mean, come on, those are indie games specifically, and people
Right.
love the indie game collection. And then they announced like Jalico Arcade. And I'm just like, come on, and then the other arcade. And I'm like, come on. So I feel like it's never good enough. People are like saying like they're lackluster.
You can say that about literally anything in the world.
Right.
But not everybody's going to like it. Just look at Amazon reviews.
Yeah, that is
there's always somebody that gives the whatever it is 1 star because for one reason or another, it wasn't what they thought it was, or didn't work the way they wanted it to.
So it is. So I kind of feel like let's say you were a person and you bought Evercade on a whim, and you had fun with it. You're probably like if you're posting on the Facebook forums, you're involved. Like if you didn't happen to go upon that by accident, like you've gotten into the Evercade like niche like fringe universe. So I kind of feel like you should know at this point what you're getting yourself into. That's all. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's my soapbox. So I'm just like, just enjoy the thing for what it, just enjoy the thing for what it is, or don't, I guess. But
yeah.
Some people enjoy not liking stuff.
True.
That is also a thing. That is absolutely a thing.
I know.
Because again, welcome to the internet.
Oh, I know. I just those people keep their opinions to themselves, but I guess not everyone.
But, no, it's the internet. There's no lock on opinions on the internet at all.
But speaking of those things that people might be waiting for, we might be able to get some kind of neat clues as to what might be happening in the future pretty shortly. So let me go ahead and pop this thing up here in case anyone hasn't seen on the Twitter feeds.
It probably may, because I have no idea what you're going to show.
Oh,
we got a invitation apparently from Evercade themselves, from Blaze Entertainment. It's their 2nd anniversary show. Apparently they're going to do I don't know if this is going to be a pre-recorded thing or a live thing or a hosted thing, but they're going to have a video on May 31st. And it's like everybody's all invited. I think it's cool that they did like the little show ticket thing. That's kind of neat. And it's got the QR code that takes you to their homepage, their YouTube homepage, of course. But they say find out about the next cartridges, some of our greatest hits, and some very big news. So I'm hoping that somewhere in this video, they do like one of those video versions that you don't have to call in, like they did the call-in line last year. Like I'm hoping for something that's like cool and retro inspired in the way they deliver the content here, because I think that would be awesome and very fitting in the way that they do these things. And I'm excited because, well, hey, that means they're going to drop some hint about some new cartridges, maybe. Very big news. I mean, like it could be anything. I mean, we could be speculating, for forever. But very big news seems to me like well.
It seems like 7 o'clock Central Time, I think.
Yeah, but is that AM or PM though?
Well, it says 12.
It's military. Oh, you know what? That's AM because 1700 is 5 p.m.
Okay,
because the military time.
British Standard Time.
It's 7 a.m. I don't know, but that's like before I even start work.
No, that's
12 EST. You're in Central, aren't you?
I'm in Central, but
isn't that 11? It's 11 o'clock.
9 p.m. 9 a.m. Oh yeah,
that's 11. Yeah, that's right.
9 p.m. 9 a.m. PST.
Yeah.
So it's we're all at our various places. I mean, what is it? The 31st is a Tuesday. I'm at work.
Yeah,
but it's 12 EST, so it's lunch. So
why can't it be May 30th? I have that day off. It's Memorial Day.
Or May 30th would be a perfect day because we could get on and do a show after, and like talk about stuff. I mean, whatever, it's fine. We'll talk. It's plenty to talk about on the 4th. Then
see what I mean? There's always something somebody's got to complain about.
Then I have the dilemma. I might have to hold off on my next video, and then I may, since this is coming out usually on Tuesday when I put out a new video, I may do this one because I'm sure it's going to be really big news.
Yeah,
maybe I'll hold off and wait. Just get it done.
So, let's see.
New carts,
Yeah.
greatest hits,
Sweet.
big news.
Sweet little streamed Evercade VR headset. That'd be hilarious. Sega games, maybe. Yeah, that would be pretty big. TurboGrafx collection.
You say they'd be big, but I think the cartridges will be the same size.
Too bad there wasn't a Neo Geo comment.
Phone in sick. Yeah, no, I can't. I don't know if I could do that. But what I might be able to do, I think it might be one of those half days. So I might be able to take like an extended lunch because the kiddos won't be in the school.
Do we think it's going to be live or pre-recorded or?
I think it's going to be. I don't know. So I would imagine though that if they're having an event, right? Maybe it's a mix, right? You know, like there's going to be someone there at Blaze, you know, like hosting. You know, like sometimes they do those videos where there's, you know, someone there and they're live, like, hey, you know, I want to show you about this cool, you know, this really cool thing. Let's roll this clip, and then they roll pre-recorded stuff, and they have segments like that.
I think it'll just be a premiering video. Like
it could be that too. Yeah, they will announce trading cards.
Why not? Limited Run Games has them. I mean,
that's it. Yeah. And they will announce a new handheld color. Okay.
I think they'll do a color without the U. Well, no, they will do it with the U.
I don't see a new handheld coming out at all this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty good on that.
Well,
and I'll tell you why, because I honestly feel like anybody who didn't want a new handheld, for the most part, either they got the purple handheld, or they don't care about the screen so much, or if they do, that they're modding it. I don't think they would sell. I don't think that they would sell as many, because the thing is they have to keep that price point still sub 100. So what are they going to do? Add USB-C charging and a better screen? Like for me, like I would have to travel. You know, like to get that, I have to travel a lot. I already have 2 handhelds.
I think it'll be like at least a new color variation. I think they will announce that, because think about it, they'll get people to buy it again just so they could have every color.
Yeah, I mean, well, if they brought the black handheld back, but then did it all like surround, the whole thing would be black, then I would jump in on that, because that's the one.
Like the Evercade VS.
You know what? Okay,
yeah,
Founders Edition.
Exactly. Yes, if they did something like that, I'd be all over it, because I kind of like the variants. Even though I don't have a purple, but I would get the blacks, because then it would encourage me to get another VS, and then I would get the white VS and put it in the living room.
So I'm glad that you mentioned that. So just to, I don't know if I can. Okay, I can't make. Okay, make myself big screen here, real quick for 1 second. I'm gonna, and I'm doing this because I'm gonna make a prediction while we're talking about that. So what I think the next variant would be before handheld, it'll be a VS variant. It'll be different colors, maybe to mimic something else, but it'll be a VS variant. It'll be like $100 or maybe a little more, and it'll come with like, you know, like a certificate of authenticity and color controller and all that stuff. I don't know. That's my guess. That's my guess. Right. Which I would rather them have, because I wouldn't mind having a second VS maybe in the living room, or use one dedicated to being by my computer. I would get another VS over a handheld for sure.
That'd be good. That'd be interesting. I mean, for me, I'm kind of good with my VS. I'm good with my Founders, you know, for sure. But if I could grab, if I could grab one, I would get the standard, so I could have the 2 different color variations.
For me, it's for functionality.
Unit. You always want that.
It's just to be late. It's just to be lazy and either always have one here in the office or one in the living room. You know, just that's all.
Yeah,
just for functionality, like to not have to swap them around. And not only that, sometimes it's nice to it's nice to have like 2 carts in one. You know, that's what I kind of like about having an extra handheld, keeping that Namco or whatever in there.
Mm-hmm. I honestly don't think they'll come out with a controller that unless they're gonna start adding in paddle and trackball functionality. Then I think they would have to come out with some sort of controller that might do both.
Yeah,
so you know, you don't have to find one that will work with the Evercade VS.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I agree with you, primarily because remember a while back when the egret or regret or whatever came out, like Ryan, like I think it was like Ryan teased that they were testing that trackball. So I think to your point, Crow, that they'll take an existing device that's not too expensive, like the sub 50 or 40, and they'll have another company.
Well,
Like,
even
they'll have a third
before
party
that,
release it, but they'll verify that it works.
when I asked about the like the Atari games that use the paddles, why not paddle support? It's because they didn't really have the paddles to test it with. But I managed to build my own paddles, so
I agree with Ballistic Coffee Boy. Yeah, and that's a comment. I think they just need to focus on the new carts and focus on updating fixes and all that stuff.
I want to go back. Oh, sorry. I want to go back to this one thing real quick from our GBTV. Like I would take that as the big news. Because we've already seen that they have like native games, right? Games that don't exist anywhere else except for the Evercade in those 2 secret games. And if the big news was we're opening up an internal studio to make games specifically for the Evercade, that's huge news. That's absolutely bonkers news. And I'd be all about that because, again, it's, it lends to discovery. It lends to what brought me to the Evercade, and
well, I mean,
if
you think about it, like literally every game that we have on every collection, you could play somewhere else other than the Evercade very easily. Yep. So if they're putting, games that you can only play on the Evercade, then that'll make people have to buy an Evercade if they want to play those games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would say that would be a benefit to them and the obviously to them, but to the community too, because then they could loop in all sorts of other cool stuff. We have all sorts of neat games that you can't see anywhere else, and sky's the limit at that point.
I think you figured out their plan, and I'll tell you why your logic makes 150,000%. I need to get like a Spock clip, but anyways, no, it makes sense because remember when the Evercade first came out. They said they eventually did want to do arcade, right? But they had the Nintendo, and that was just to kind of like, suck people into it. And then they have like Xeno Crisis, and then they have Indie Heroes 1. So then they keep having these different indie games. And then we have that, Fairy Fire. And so I agree with 100%, Rich. Maybe like secretly, what if eventually like retro games are just to like suck people in? And then now they start coming out with original content. And then the retro and indie games become the filler. And they start making their own stuff. That would be fantastic.
That'd be rad.
And like unique stuff you can't find anywhere else. Oh, I hope the question is, do you think they'll do that as part of the red numbered carts, or do you think they'll choose like a yellow or green? And
oh man,
I mean, there's plenty of other colors left in the spectrum.
Yeah. Do you think it'll be part of the numbered series, or will they be like, hey, we want this to stand out? We're gonna do 01 Evercade Classics.
No, they probably, if that was a new color, it'd restart the numbering because that's what they did with the arcade ones.
Yeah, and I think maybe that would be like a. You would just have the Blaze logo, right? Whatever studio they spin out. Like say they have a new studio, they name it something else.
Yeah, well,
I think they should do that. I think to make it stand out like they did with the arcade cards. Start 01 Blaze collection.
The console collections are called collections. The arcade ones say arcade. So the new one could be originals or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yep.
I wonder if they're testing the water. Like, do you think it would just have one games, or do you think it would be like a dual cart? Like, I wonder how many games they would have on that.
I guess it really just depends on like how in depth those games are, how much space they take up, that kind of stuff. I mean, because if they're like little games, if like early NES titles, so you wouldn't want 1 or 2 of those kind of games in there. But if it's like a much bigger game, more involved, then you can see like when we got the Xeno Crisis and Tanglewood. There are only 2 games, but they're a lot more complicated than what we were seeing in cartridges before that.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, now you really have me excited. Evercade Originals. Yes.
I mean, hey,
they need to use that. Steal that, Blaze. Steal that. Call them Evercade Originals.
Yeah, and it'd be rad. I'm just saying. I mean, we have absolutely no idea what it could be, but if that was a thing, I would surely be happy about that.
So what I suspect though, in true Sean fashion, it's just they're going to totally troll. They're going to give us a tease. Like here's what they're going to do. They'll reveal like 1 or 2 like 100% solid things, and then everything else is going to be a tease.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, they are good for whatever they do. They are good at absolutely surprising people, especially when it's Especially when it comes to their marketing stuff. Oh, Pete, see you, man.
See you, dude.
Yep, see you next week. Get ready for that Dig Dug, or unless people do stuff.
We'll run out of time again.
To that poll. We'll run out of time again.
Right.
Nice.
Well, hey, we can't control that.
We are good at that.
Hey, it's good.
Technically, we can control that. That's the thing.
Yes, we absolutely can. We're just terrible at it. but yeah. So I mean, everybody keep their eyes and ears peeled. Of course, we'll be talking we're going to talk about again, unless we get some more information. We'll remind people again, of course, next week to tune in on the 31st to find out what is going on. But until then, we'll see. We'll just see. So all right. Well, why don't we dive in, because I think this will probably be a little bit shorter in this particular collection, because we've talked about some of the games and the gameplay already for Atari Arcade in the Atari collections on their 2600, 7800 counterparts.
I disagree. They're completely different.
They are okay. So see that this could be awesome. Be a thing.
Let's do it.
This could be a thing. Let's get into the Atari Collection 1 and talk about some of these for a little while. So we'll start off with.
No, we can't talk about this one. We can't talk about this game because it's not. Because it's the wrong game. It's supposed to be Asteroids Deluxe. It's not Asteroids Deluxe. I'm waiting for them to fix this.
What? I mean, did we ever get a what happened?
Well, I think I can guess what happened. They put the wrong ROM file on it.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, it was a little. This is the only weirdest thing that I think I've seen as far as that goes. I mean, because you're right. I mean, it is. I was actually just playing this the other day on Anstream, but I was playing Asteroids. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Like, I just want to know, like what, like, I don't know.
Well, the thing that it's really strange is, like, there's already been like 2 or 3 updates since this cartridge was released. How come this hasn't been fixed yet? Because this is like the biggest blunder I've seen so far.
Yeah, I could kind of agree. There. Like, it is pretty blaring when it's like
this opens up like a question too. Is like it's supposed to be Asteroids Deluxe. Asteroids isn't even supposed to be on the cartridge. So they're gonna take away Asteroids to put on Asteroids Deluxe, or will they just add in Asteroids Deluxe and Asteroids will just be a bonus?
Well, I mean, I guess due to possible legal requirements, they might have to patch this game out.
Yeah, it depends on what the license is, but
yeah.
But the thing that's so sad is, like, I was having a lot of fun playing this, but I had to put this as my lowest ranked game, period, because it's not the right game.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I agree with you, Crow. This definitely should have been fixed. I mean, come on.
Oh, and that's a bad miss.
Sorry, but you know what could be part of a big announcement? Because so think about it. They have to patch this Renew's Tale or whatever. I'm probably saying it wrong. That needs to be patched. Maybe they're working on a way to do it without the VS. Maybe I don't know if Roneo's Tales actually been completed yet. That's out of control. But I wonder if they're holding off for that. I don't know. Just speculating.
Yeah, to show. Yeah, maybe that's the thing that, like, but it could be not only is that game completed and that's gonna be coming out, but maybe they're working, like, again, tying into stuff that we were talking about before, maybe they're working on something.
So speaking of things to fix,
just on the Evercade, so that'd be
one more. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. There's one more thing I have to add to that, and that's for not Chain Reaction. What's the arcade version? Vendetta East. No, that is Chain Reaction. I was getting confused with Magical Drop. No, it is. Yeah. With Chain Reaction, they need to fix it so you can have the save states, because
Well, Chain Reaction is technically Magical Drop everywhere else in the world.
Yes, yeah. Fix the save states. I want to save my score. I want to be able to, like, beat that, not be, like, stuck to it.
Yeah, that would be priority number 2, I would think.
Yep. So, but yes. So I mean, like other than that though, like again, what can be said about Asteroids Arcade itself, other than I mean, well, for me, it's it's one of my favorite games. Although I do prefer the 2600 version.
See, the thing that bothers me about the 2600 version is that the asteroids always move vertically. They never really seem to veer any further going horizontally. They're always vertical.
Yeah, well, yeah, until you start actually like shooting them, and then they go everywhere.
No, they still go vertical. That's why it's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know though. I still think like once you start shooting them, they do veer.
I don't know if it's a harder difficulty where they do that, but like in the original game mode, no matter how far you play into the game, they never go more horizontally. They always
just go.
They always go at the same angles vertically.
Huh.
So
I'll have to double back and check that out.
I was gonna say someone should do a comparison video.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we'll have to check that out. But I mean, it is good fun. Like again, I love Asteroids.
It is, and like any version of Asteroids, this one, the 7800 version. I mean, they're all fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Asteroids, any way you look at it, is fun. It's just that some are more fun than others.
Yes. So, and then hopefully we will see the deluxe at some point. And we'll get to play around with that and talk about that too. So good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this game, but it's like this is not supposed to be on the cartridge.
All right, cool. So let's go on to our next one.
Why were you watching Macaulay Culkin
eating the pizza?
Sorry, I totally threw off your mojo. Sorry, like that. Yeah.
All right.
I forget why I used that as a bumper in one of my things, and it was just something bizarre. It did its work. Anyways, go ahead.
So, not sure what Macaulay Culkin eating pizza has to do with Candy Bomber, but here we are talking about Candy Bomber. So this one was one of those games that it's like, for me, it's an okay game. I'm not immensely it's not in my like top Atari arcade games of all time list. But it is, I guess it is kind of fun.
This is the one game where it's like, okay, I didn't like the Atari 2600 version. I never really did. But I like the arcade version a lot more. The rules are a little bit different. The resolution is a lot higher, and so you're not. I mean, you could actually aim where you want to drop your bombs. So, and you're limited to 3 misses. So you have to be really careful not to miss. Whereas in the Atari 2600 version, I think it's either I think the game modes are either timed or you can miss 6 times.
Yeah.
And also like in the Atari version, you really can't really tell what point values are for those, because the colored blocks, they shift, but they keep changing colors. You don't know what the point values are. This is very clear.
Yes. Yeah, no, that is I can agree with you there.
And then, well, the Atari 2600 game had the additional game on there as a separate mode, but you can't play it on the Evercade VS because it's unplayable, because it's actually requires to use the dial on the paddle, and that was never converted to be used as a D-pad. So the second game mode is unplayable.
Yes.
This game's it's interesting. I mean, it's one of those ones where, admittedly, if I'm going to fire up this cart, I'll maybe play it once or twice, and I'll be like, okay, that was neat. I wouldn't put in this cart just to play this game.
Yeah, this is a game you could play against somebody without having to explain a lot of details. Okay, hit the button to drop a bomb. That's it.
2 players would be fun.
Yeah,
2 players.
Aim for the bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, I mean,
it's not bad, but it's not like super fantastic. It's not like S tier, but it's not S
Yeah, it's
tier.
definitely not, but it's
No.
much better than the Atari 2600 version.
Yeah, 100%. But in game styles like this, if it was like this, because I consider these kind of like almost carnival shooters.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if it was this or like Air Sea Battle, I'm playing Air Sea Battle. Like in my opinion, on the 2600.
Well, this is like an Air Sea Battle. It's just reversed.
It is. Well,
Yeah.
but there are in the what is it, in the air battles, in the air battle games, there's a mode where you're the planes trying to bomb the ships that are down below, whatever.
Yeah.
And then then you
that,
have it in reverse where you're the ships and you're trying to shoot the planes, and then you've got the you're I guess the tanks, I guess, and you're shooting at the planes coming through. Like there, you can do all of the different varieties of shooting things or dropping bombs on things in Air Sea Battle. So it's like, okay, Air Sea Battle for me.
Yeah, there's a lot more game variety. What was funny though was back when I was little and we played Air Sea Battle, me and my sister would only play one game variation of that anyway.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. I mean, I've gotten stuck on that, especially so that's a game that has deep nostalgia for me though, because me and my cousins played the wheels off of that game. I don't know what it was about it, but we would always play it, and we got stuck on that first mode for hours and hours and hours one night. But every time we would get together, we would play all sorts of different ones. But there was one night we played from, so it's like 8 or 9 p.m. through to like 3:30 in the morning. It was absolutely nuts. It was on New Year's Eve. But yeah, no, it was crazy. But I guess getting back to Canyon Bomber, I mean, again, it's all right. If this was, here's the question: if this was in the arcade, are you popping quarters in?
No.
Well, what year is it? How many other games are in the arcade?
So all right. So like, I mean, I took myself back to the arcade as a I don't know, like a 7 or 8 year old, I guess. And I could go to an arcade back then. It was 86, I guess. So it wasn't the crash had already happened, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of hard to put myself in that. When this was out in the 70.
Yeah, this is like 76 or something.
76,
maybe even
yeah.
earlier than that. It's like maybe even earlier than that.
So yeah, this is pre everything. This is this is pre asteroid. This is pre yeah.
Yep.
It's not pre-punk. It's not
Younger Ed would
pre-punk.
look like there's just buttons. It's black and white. There's no joystick. It's not like Donkey Kong or like Pac-Man. Or Frog. You know what I mean? I would know. I would kind of look at it as man.
But all of those came later. So I guess maybe it's a product of its time then.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, but honestly, if this was in an arcade and I was 7, or I'd probably try to play every single game I could.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was me when I went to Fun Spot the first time. I had to play everything ever, and there was over 300 games there. So I think they actually had a Canyon Bomber. But I don't know if I'd spend as much time, now. Like there's other things to play,
Yeah.
So
Canyon Bomber. Let's see here. 1977. I should have known that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it the year before Asteroids? Because Asteroids is 78, wasn't it? In the arcade?
Well, let's see. I can tell you what. Yeah, actually, it's on the on the copyright at the bottom of the screen. I think it is 78. And Asteroids Deluxe is supposed to be 81, even though the copyright at the bottom of the screen says 80.
Yeah. Let me just flip back. 79.
Yeah, 1979. Yeah.
79. Yep. So, all right. So, but yeah. So that's Canyon Bomber. It's all right. So let's go to Centipede.
Okay, go ahead, Ed. I think you're going to say what I'm going to say.
So here's kind of the thing. So here's the thing. When this first came and I played it, I was very excited because it is the arcade version, but like you can tell the controls are designed for a trackball, and to kind of keep up with that, you have to kind of move your, like for me, I kind of had to like move myself around to be floaty like that. And so at first I thought it was great, but even if you play the Atari 2600 version, the controls on that are so tight because it's designed for it. 7800 is so designed for it. And then you can't play it on the handheld because the screen's too small. So I want to love this game.
Tried to play it on the handheld.
Yeah. It needs a trackball. That's, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. And I actually have the arcade one up that has Centipede on it with the trackball, and it's like, it's so much better than this trying to, because it's like, oh, I need to hit this one specific line, and you're like kind of fidgeting back and forth until you finally get it.
Yeah, I can agree. I can agree here with the necessity of the trackball, because when I played this game, this was at a local pizzeria, nearby, and that's how I played. Right, you played because I had the trackball, and it was awesome because you had that immense level of control. But playing, with just a D-pad, you miss it. But on the same token, I did also have the 2600 version of Centipede, and kind of get used to it on the joystick. So it's the thing. It's like, it can work with a joystick. It's just that this doesn't work that well with the joystick. It needs to be tweaked a little bit more before it's more playable with the joystick. I think. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there was and you've talked about this before, Crow. A number of games would do well, with that other style of controller, specifically with this arcade collection. And I'm sure that as we go through in the next 2 weeks, as we go through talking about the rest of these games, we're going to keep hitting this point. But
actually, I think how many games are in this collection? Like 12.
Yeah,
I think 9 of them
13,
use controls other than a joystick.
Yeah.
So that's
you're right. Because it's taking a peek into next week. It's
because,
it's
a lot of these games,
Lunar Lander, Millipede, and Missile Command. So
were made back when they were being more experimental with the arcade games, and like a joystick and buttons wasn't like the standard at the time. So they would think, okay, I want to make this game. What's the best way to control it? And then they would design the controls around the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So what's interesting, and here's why I suspect that we have this collection. Here's what I think the Blaze did.
I rather think we could strike a deal.
Let me elaborate on that. So, no insider info. I'm suspecting. So that we know that like Atari, we have the 2 Atari collections. What if they said, hey, as part of the licensing agreement, and for us to release like future collections, we need to sell X amount of units. Well, this was included with the Founders Edition, so we knew they were at least going to sell out like 5,000 of them. So maybe their plan was just throw this on here. We already have the licenses, and maybe they'll do the trackball thing later. I don't know. Just
I mean, it's I guess to appease certain requirements, maybe that is a thing. I mean, I think all along though, they if they had the license, why wouldn't you do an Atari collection?
Could be that too.
The only thing though is I think though they have some some forethought in that, like there's going to be people that they're going to say, oh, I picked up a Atari collection, I have it, I want to be able to play these in the optimum, at the very least, have the hardware development side of Blaze look into making sure that something of that ilk, a trackball, a spinner, whatever, is at least compatible for those that want to use them at the start, right? And then of course, later on, right, we were even talking about what could be in big news. I mean, possibly a piece of hardware. But to be honest, I think in this particular year, I think that particular thing is unlikely. But you never know. But for certain, we figured out a way to make this particular piece of third-party hardware compatible. We've made sure that the drivers are in the next set for the next update for the VS. So we're going to make sure that the VS gets an update and you can use that controller.
All they need to do to make this a lot more playable is to let you plug in a mouse. and it'd be a lot easier to play with a mouse.
But
Because I used to play this with a mouse in like a early Windows arcade collection, and it's very playable with a mouse.
but see,
Yeah.
you could,
Well, I mean, you can even get a trackball mouse too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
but then it's like, but then I want to. Then I'm like, then you could play it on your PC because otherwise, the only other way of having an authentic experience without using your PC would be to have an arcade one-up. So if they had a trackball, this would be another cheap. And for me right now, like this collection's at the C tier. If they have a trackball for it, it would bring it up to like A or S tier.
But you could actually play this on your PC right now with a joystick if you really wanted.
Yeah, but I don't though. That's the thing though. I want that more.
But would you rather play with a D-pad or would you rather play with a mouse?
I don't know. I don't really want to play it with a mouse though, because then it's gonna take away like the arcade. I don't know.
But playing with the D-pad is not gonna be like the arcade either.
I know.
Right. Yeah,
Maybe I just don't even want to play it. Well, you know what? I'd rather play Hummings or the 2600 version or the 7800 version. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, for me,
all I'm saying is if you want to play Centipede, you don't have a trackball, but you have a mouse, would you still play it? Yeah. Why not?
You know what? If you could use it on the Evercade, or I guess like I do have a trackball, kind of a trackball. That would be funny. I wonder if this is Bluetooth, but that'd be funny.
You could easily buy a trackball with a USB connection that acts like a mouse.
Oh yeah, and those aren't that expensive. Oh yeah. That would problem solved. I would do that.
Well, there you go. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the game itself goes, though, like as far as arcade version versus 2600 or 7800 version, with having the ability to have the trackball controller, would you guys feel that this is kind of like the definitive version of Centipede, or do you guys prefer the others?
I actually would prefer to play the 2600 version over this version because it's more playable with the D-pad, because it was designed for that.
Yeah, and if you were able to get the trackball, would that change your mind?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd rather play this with a trackball than the 2600 version. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I think I would be there too. If I had a trackball, I would play the arcade version over the 2600 version myself too.
Yeah.
But but that is different than my view of Asteroids, because it's 2600 all day, every day, and I don't know why. It's just what I grew up with.
Exactly.
If we ever get a Taito collection, right, I will demand that the 2600 version of Space Invaders be included, because that's the one I want to play. And I don't know why. I just don't know why. It's just I have to have it.
Well, I would think for video game preservation alone that they would do that, because it was such an important port. What I mean?
With the Atari 2600 version of Space Invaders, you've got 101 different game variations. With the arcade, you only have one.
Well, there you go.
So, I mean, and it's like again, I didn't go and get a ton of cartridges on the Atari 2600, but I have, what is it now? 4. I have 4 Atari 2600 games, and this is one of them.
I think the Atari 2600 cartridge collection I have is probably the biggest one that I have, because I won't get rid of them.
Well, I used to have, you talked to me 8 months ago, I had over
that's true.
200, but we'll see what happens to them. But like when it's for things, when I got my Retron 77 back, and I'm like, well, I need carts to test it on, so I have to get some. So I got Berserk, Space Invaders, Haunted House, and Pac-Man. And those are my 4 that I got.
I think I had more at one time, but like I sold like a lot of duplicates. They were just different variations, and I was like, I'm not going to bother. I only care about the picture label. I'll keep the picture label one.
Yeah.
You know what though? I wonder if it's something with the licensing. Because remember, even on like the Switch collection of Space Invaders, like they have like a Z Spectrum. They don't have the 2600 version on there. So I wonder if it's some weird licensing.
Oh, they could do a Space Invader collection and just have like 100 different variations of Space Invaders on it.
Exactly.
From different consoles.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no, that would be a neat thing. But yeah, I think there might be something to the Atari version of Space Invaders that might prevent it from being.
I just happen to have this one with me right now.
Oh, the Game Boy Space Invaders, yeah.
Nice.
Nice. So, all right, cool. So let's head on over to Crystal Castles, and
it's better than
already.
I'll say this: it's better than the 2600 version for sure. Like I like it a lot better.
2600 version is a lot better than this.
Really? Because
yeah,
for me the 2600 version was like with the controls was unplayable. This I like better, but you still need to.
I think this is unplayable with a D-pad.
Oh, wow.
Completely unplayable with a D-pad.
Yeah, and it's all like it's that control factor thing, right? Well, because it's got to be the corners, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, but trying to get him to go down like narrow paths and stuff. He's like he gains momentum at such an odd pace. It's just I just can't get used to it. Like this footage that you're seeing on the screen here, this is many different save states and footage edited together. I died all the time playing
this level is impossible with the controls. Like I can't get that stupid skeleton. It's like,
but like the Atari 2600 version was designed to use with the D-pad, so it's more playable. But that's aside from the fact that I'm not very fond of Crystal Castles to begin with, because on that same arcade 1-up machine I have with Centipede has Crystal Castles on it. I find it, I mean, I know this is a really popular game. A lot of people really like this game in the arcade version. I'm just really lukewarm on it. I just don't see the appeal. I don't know why.
It had better controls.
Oh, I could tell you what tier this is in. I think I put this in F, to be honest. No, this is definitely an F because it's unplayable. Because it's not the trackball.
This is just one of those games where when I played it, I wanted the controls to be good, and then I just felt like the cart was doing this to me. You know, it was like laughing at me the whole time.
Yeah, I had a hard time with both versions of this game, the 2600 and the arcade version, but I can agree with the whole control factor. I mean, if the game is designed for a different control method,
like literally me getting this footage for this, I was literally getting so angry because I kept having to save state and rewind so many times, and I was trying to beat this game, and I finally just gave up because I was like, "There's no way I'm beating this."
I don't blame
you. Yeah, it's a rough one, but the sad part about it though is I played this in the arcade. It's fun, like it's I know it's a super cool game.
People like it, and I just don't. I have the arcade 1-up version, and I go back and I play it like once in a while. It's like I don't see the appeal.
Yeah, the only thing that gets me, and it is one of those things for some of the earlier games that you have to like kind of give a pass because like technology maybe just wasn't there. Is the sound sometimes is a little grating on this version. It's cool, but I don't know what it is. But like the constant like the constant sound of like either like the pickups or the like some of the enemies where there's just like that thudding. Like it kind of gets to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, it ain't no Marble Madness for sure. As far as using a trackball, and it ain't no NES version of Marble Madness with the conversion.
Oh, that'd be a nice game to have on the Evercade.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd take the NES version of it.
It's awesome.
I take the Commodore 64 version.
Of Marble Madness?
Of Marble Madness. That's the one I played a lot.
Yeah. I played, when I got to play it, I played the NES version.
In fact,
a ton. But yeah, that would be an awesome
game.
I
wonder if Blaze will do that again, because I want to say Worms is the only collection where they've had just like one game, but just the variations of the game. But they're still very different. You know what I mean? Actually,
right.
Here's what Blaze hasn't done. They haven't had a collection where we have a game, we have different ports of the same game.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, this is the best. These were the best boxes ever for games.
Oh, very
cool.
Cool.
No, I agree with that. That's pretty killer. Yeah. Those are awesome.
I don't know if we can. Can't put them on screen.
You make Crow bigger. Here, wait, can you just solo him? Here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I'm solo. There you go. And
Nice.
this is Electronic Arts. This is back when they were the best.
Yes,
Dude,
Before
that's
they were
awesome.
the worst.
before they were the worst. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like because you know what? It's
So
like
cool.
vinyl. Only
Yeah, that's what they made these specifically to emulate vinyl albums.
yeah,
So it's
that's
so it's
right.
like a mini. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, because then people could legit collect those, take the discs out and put them in something, and then
The logic
There we go.
The logic was the reason these are albums is because they used to put forefront the people who designed the games like they were rock stars.
Yeah.
Oh, very
So in
cool.
every single one of these, you see pictures of the people who designed the games.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what? I have no way to play that, but if I like saw that at a garage sale or something, I'd pick that up because that looks just like so cool. Just for
Well,
like
yeah,
the
because
box
you put it in like a one of those
Well-
square picture frames and just put it up on the wall.
art.
You know what?
Oh,
Something that's
yeah.
funny. It's that it wouldn't be, yeah, exactly. People buy this kind of stuff for the art. Same thing with vinyl records. A lot of people that
Mhm.
buy vinyl records these days don't even have a record player.
Yeah, they're just putting them up on the wall, right?
Yeah, or something. They're cool.
So, yeah, it's cool. It's neat. But anyway, so that is Crystal Castles, and that brings us to
Whew,
the end
yeah.
of the first row. So then
Those
next
sounds
week,
were getting to me, man.
yeah. So then next week, I mean, that's
I guess I'm not annoyed by the sounds so much. I could take the sounds. I just can't take playing.
That and then the bombs dropping.
Yeah.
Like that was getting to me.
I have a fondness for annoying noises.
nice.
You know what, Crow? Here's all I can say about
That's
you.
why I yell at dubstep.
Well, Crow, all I can say about you is this.
You are unique.
Aren't we all?
That's right. That's right. So then next week, that brings us to Liberator, Lunar Lander, Millipede, and Missile Command. Those will be
Wait a
next
minute, say
week's
those again.
games. Liberator,
Liberator?
Lunar Lander,
Lunar Lander.
Millipede, Missile
Millipede.
Command.
Every single one of those games uses an analog controller one way or another.
That's true.
Yeah.
Even Lunar Lander, because
Right.
I've never seen a version of Lunar Lander at home version that plays like the arcade version
Yes.
because it has an analog throttle.
I
That
will
is-
say that Missile
is very
Command
true.
is more playable, definitely more playable than Centipede. I'm going to save it for tomorrow, but you can, you would rather have a
Oh.
trackball, but it's more, you can adapt to it better, I think.
Yeah, we can save that for next week. But yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest, it's like I always played Missile Command on the Atari 2600, which uses a joystick. So I guess that's why it didn't bother me so much.
Yeah. That's such a solid version. And then it's interesting. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it more, having the 3 buttons versus the 1. Yeah. Different strats.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, did you know that? I guess I can save it for next week. But Missile Command, the side silos fire missiles faster than the center one.
No, I did not know that.
Now you know. I could do
Yes. The more you
Yeah,
know.
dude.
There it is.
Oh, man, no audio.
That's awesome. That's totally cool. So yeah, so we'll be looking forward to that next week, and then of course, who knows? Maybe they'll be dropping some more hints about what is going to go down on the 31st. Sometimes they do that on a Friday, and then we'll talk about that. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Anyone else have any final thoughts?
I'm thinking, what was that?
Pointing at you.
I was like, wait, what? Oh, just before you go, I'm curious, what do you guys do for a living? That's an interesting, cool question. So I am a IT services manager for a school. That's what I do every day. I make sure all of the things turn on and off appropriately and get things to people and then do projects. So that's me. Anyone else want to share what they do?
Here's what I do for a living.
I order you to go take a number 2. Aye, aye, Captain.
I'm just trying to find a way to like crowbar that in. No, without because with me,
Don't
like,
involve me in that.
I'll never. Yeah. No, I'll just say I'll never mention the specific company what I do, but just trust I work in IT and have a technical background.
There you go.
I'll say that.
Well,
Yeah.
technically speaking, my title right now is a database architect.
There you go.
Nice.
So,
I couldn't
we're
get
all-
I couldn't get the title I wanted, which was data czar.
Dazar.
I fought for a year and a half to get that, but
So we're all techie.
That's awesome.
Bizarre.
But yeah, I got shut down at the CEO level.
Oh man, why couldn't they give you that title? Come on, well,
Because they didn't want to have to explain to the clients what a Dazar was.
But that sounds really cool, though. I like that. I mean, it says what it is. You're the czar of data. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. It is a real job title, by the way. You can look it up.
That's so cool.
That's cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, getting to know everybody there. Oh, Jason works on the railway in the UK. That's awesome. That's a cool job.
That is, man.
It's like that's an interesting job. So awesome. All right, cool guys. Well, I think that's about it for today. I gotta go grab a very, very young one, make sure he's okay. That's my other one is going off to have fun adventures in the hot heat of this weekend. It's unbelievable. It's gonna be like 90 something today.
What is it gonna be? I gotta work outside.
It's crazy.
I'm probably gonna stop mowing the lawn until tomorrow morning.
Nice. A high of 67 today. Nice.
Oh, well, so
I wish.
very jealous of Crow's weather.
Hey, that's the high for like the next 5 days.
Dude, it's been like 80. It's been like 92, 90s, 88. Yeah, the Texas.
Well, you're in Texas, so
yeah.
The projected high
law
here
has to be
over in the
high.
Jers is 94. Is the projected high. We're already at 85. So,
Yep.
but then next week it'll be 67. Oh hey. So, oh my goodness. And Nick's looking at snow outside.
Man.
What is this? What is this
Man.
place? What is this place? We've got awesome weather. We got your typical hot weather. We've got blazing hot, ridiculous craziness, and then
what was
snow.
funny was we're supposed to get a ton of rain, and every time we're
Right.
supposed to get a ton of rain, it doesn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's the other thing that happened this week. We've had 2 times where I've had like tornado warnings, and then it doesn't rain at all. Just cloud cover and then sit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, guys, get it together, guys.
Dude, well, I mean, in Texas, one of those states where like we're in Tornado Alley, and we've had like a few of those like
Oh,
tornado.
you're close to the panhandle
Uh,
of Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary, right? Like one of them a few weeks back, like I kid you not, like you could just see like the sky starting to go dark, and then at one point when there was the warning, you just like all of a sudden you couldn't see out the window just because like the rain and everything, and then like that was like gone in a second, and then we checked the news. Yep, it went up.
How many
Well,
tornadoes have you been
about-
through?
Went right by us. I'm like, good if I can talk.
wow. That's wild.
Yeah. So it's
I've been in the eye of a hurricane before, but yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've experienced that once before as well. It's a weird experience.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
'Cause it's,
Or not fun
yeah.
stuff. But
well, yeah. No, definitely
bad stuff.
wild. Here's Ryan coming in, dropping teases. Hope you guys are excited for the 31st.
Oh yeah!
Yes,
it's like-
you
it's
missed the half hour of speculation that we did.
Yeah, I know. It's
No.
spoilers,
I already know that I have to do. I mean, I have to do a reaction video to whatever videos put out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I know.
Well, for sure. We'll have to figure out what's going on. But all right. So I've got to go and grab some peoples. So I hope everybody here is going to be having an excellent rest of the weekend. We, of course, will see you next weekend for more Evercade goodness and awesome stuff, plus more arcade action. So until next time, my friends, we'll see you later. All right. Bye, guys.